This little doll is a mop doll. You can see by the strands here about the mop. But that was made, homemade doll, made from a mop. Above the blackboard, you see the alphabet, and for years and years, in every schoolroom in America, there were this alphabet. Above the alphabet, you see the owl, stuffed owl, which also stands for wisdom. But these items, the owl and the hornet's nest, is to bring nature, the study of nature into the classroom. The American flag above the blackboard is 48 stars, and this flag came into existence in 1912, and it was the longest running American flag so far. And the two stars that were added were Arizona and New Mexico. And so this flag is the 48 stars. This is a barber strap, and it was used for discipline. Now the teacher could have a barber strap as this. This was just cut out a little bit to give her a handle to hold on to. And or they had a hickory switch. And of course I don't need to explain probably what these are for, but they were for discipline. And the students had to obey. The teachers were very strict on the students. There would be no talking in the class, no disruption. They were only to be concentrating on their classwork. The desks were always pointing to the front toward the teacher. She had strict control over the classroom. Now, if a student was disciplined for something, they would get more of it once they got home. The parents of the students believe whatever the teacher, if the teacher disciplined the student, well, that meant the student obviously needed discipline also at home. The lights above on the ceiling are dated about 1850. They were original oil lamps converted to electricity, but they are the actual type lamps that you may see in a one-room classroom. Here, George Washington. Again, every classroom in America probably had this George Washington picture. And this is the unfinished picture that was never completed. And the reason for that is that George Washington died before the completion, or there would have been two. Martha Washington was scheduled to have her portrait painted, but that was never completed or started after George's death. This is a microscope, and these are scales. And this is the little weights that you would use on the scales. The Oliver typewriter. This is a 1907 Oliver typewriter. There were different versions. It did progress. Each time they came along with a better version. The Oliver typewriter actually ran to about 1922. It was so successful. And this is called the butterfly. And when you hit the key, you can see looks like butterfly wings here and here. And it was very efficient because they used gravity. They felt that was a better than actually the typewriters that came along later. Now this was a newer version, this model, number 5. The reason the pencil, when they didn't have a way to make a straight line. So when they moved this plantain across, the pencil was down on it, on the paper. You put the paper in here. roll it around, and then you could put the pencil down and move the planting, and it would draw your line for you. And that's what that is all about. And that's just the cover to protect the typewriter. This is a map of the French and Indian War. And on this map, it will show all the Indian tribes in the United States on the eastern side, well, north, south. A lot of these tribes no longer exist. These three are, Benjamin Gullock was a teacher here in Henderson County, and this is actually his attendance records at his school in 1855. So he would keep a record of the absence of the students. Now in spring and fall, the older boys, it was difficult for them to come to school, and the school session was usually 4 months. And the reason that they were unable to come during those months, they farmed, as most people in the county did. But these boys were depended on to be at the farm to harvest the crops, to sow the crops, so they could not attend school except basically just through the summer only. But the term later extended to 8 months after a time. This box actually came from England. It was used to ship books from England, and this was actually the Blue House School. It was Thomas Jefferson Case's family. But books actually were shipped from England for the Blue House School, located in the Dana area. The dunce hat. The dunce hat gets its name. There was the John Duns Scotus, who was a scholar. He was born in 1266, and he had a following of followers that he believed that this dunce hat was the basis of knowledge. When you wore this conular shape, that knowledge would get into your head. But later, this changed where it became a symbol of ignorance. So if you misbehaved in class or didn't know your lesson, the teacher would make you sit in the corner and you had to put this on your head. On the side of the cabinet here, it's a photograph. And this is the teachers in 1915 in Henderson County, the men and women in 1915. They're posing in front of the courthouse. There's several of them there. Most of these teachers taught for 50 years with no break, not even a week, unless they were ill. But I believe that pretty well wraps up the tour. I hope you enjoyed it and got something from this, and I hope that you can come see it for yourselves. This is just part of our education tour. The rest of the tour, or the rest of the education exhibit, shows you a timeline and gives you a wealth of information about the teachers, about the schools, where they're located in the county. So try to come see us.